Okay, so as usual, I'm totally unable to do the things right, so the video is gonna have some weird type of effect because there was low light, so I tried to kind of raise it. However, the effect was extremely weird. So, I mean, the content is still understandable, and I really didn't feel like recording everything again. So, I'm sorry about that. I hope you'll still enjoy the video. So, Suplifters. Today I wanna begin this new series, which is pretty easy, and it's called How I Would Explain a Certain Exercise to Someone Who Just Came into My Gym. So this means that it is a bad tutorial by definition, because nothing is prepared. I'm just trying out of the top of my mind to explain how you should perform a certain exercise. If you want to actually learn how to deadlift, I'm gonna leave you in the description some really good videos which go in depth, which are way more advanced and from people who have a lot of more knowledge, which I probably do not have yet. However, I want to record this video and I will probably re-record it in like 3 months and then in maybe 6 months to see how my explanation develops with my knowledge as well, because the whole point of going to the gym and in general in life is to simply progress. So what I will be doing is simply try to explain how I would perform a deadlift. So the first thing that I will basically tell somebody who is trying to deadlift for the first time is how to approach the bar. Today I'm gonna be talking about the conventional. I won't talk about sumo, since as you know my friendship with sumo deadlift is over. So first thing first, make sure that the bar is parallel. If the bar is in a diagonal position, that's no bueno. We want it to have perfectly straight in front of us. What we want to do now is step inside of it. We can have a little bit larger stance, maybe even closer, depends on how you feel more comfortable. The point is that in the conventional deadlift, our legs are insides of our hands. So that is the first thing. How do we want to place ourselves regarding with the bar? What we want to see from the top is seeing the bar that is going to cut our foot in half, okay? What does this mean? Is that I'm talking about the whole foot. So not the half of this, but the half of everything. So it's going to be around there, okay? Another important thing is that your tibia shouldn't touch the bar. Your tibia should not make any contact with the bar, because what we're going to do for the first thing is basically we want to touch the bar with our knees, so there's going to be a slight knee flexion towards the bar. Okay, so once we have established this position, we're going to go down and we're going to grab. What is important right now is that we think about our arms as a couple of ropes. This means that our arms are just a tool that helps us keep the bar up. We don't need them. We're not gonna pull, we're not gonna do anything. We don't need them. Another thing that I want to talk about, however, is how are you gonna grab the bar. You have, let's say, 3 ways, okay? We have the double overhand. So we're gonna hold the bar like this. This, in my opinion, is the best for bodybuilding. This, and if the bar is too heavy, we're gonna use the straps, but we're gonna keep a double overhand. You might have seen somebody pull like this. This is called a mixed grip, because one end is supinated and one is pronated. The whole idea is that this way the bar isn't gonna rotate out of our fingers, because if we keep a double overhand, the bar is gonna rotate out of our hands. However, having one hand in a direction and one in the other, this rotation is gonna be stopped. However, there are other problems that are gonna arise. So there is an exchange. We're gonna have a better grip. However, what we're gonna lose is the ability of actually being perfectly stable, because by definition, this is a mixed grip. This means that there are different forces going on. So what could end up happening is having the so-called helicopter deadlift. I think I heard it called like this, which basically means that once we have the bar and we pull, we end up doing this thing, because by definition this hand is gonna pull and this one is gonna go forward. So we're gonna be conscious of keeping it straight. And another problem is the tendon bicep tear. The bicep isn't supposed to hold this way, and that is why we're gonna turn our hands over. However, keeping it like this, subconsciously, some people tend to do some force. So they are trying to kind of curl the weight up, because It is still gonna help. However, there is too much weight and the tendons go bye-bye. So that's no bueno. Use this grip, but be careful. And don't use it if you're just into bodybuilding, because there is nothing to gain and a lot to lose. Last thing, there is the so-called hook grip, which basically is a pronated grip. However, we are gonna grab our own thumb inside, and this is gonna hurt like a motherfucker. However, this is gonna hold the best grip out of all the three. The problem is that it hurts. It's good for powerlifters, but again, it makes no sense for bodybuilding since we have straps. So you can try to toy with this thing. I am not an expert. I have never learned how to use it. I just know that it exists. So this is an option if you're a powerlifter. But again, what are you doing on this channel? I know nothing about powerlifting. So now, since we talked about all of this stuff, we know that we're gonna use a double overhand grip, because right now we are talking about bodybuilding. So again, we approach the bar, we check that the bar is slicing our feet in half, we go down with a double overhand grip. Now we're gonna get in our position. How do we do that? Well, it's kind of simple and at the same time it's not. Another thing that you gotta be careful is basically trying to keep the feet as close to the other as possible. Not in the sense of staying narrow, but being in the same position, right? Because if one foot is like this, everything is gonna be a mess. So I am kind of a maniac, and as you can see, there is a yellow line on the floor, and I use that in order to make sure. If you go to a commercial gym, of course, you're not gonna pull out the tape and start marking the ground. So you're gonna kind of learn with time. Another cool thing that you can do is if the bar ends up rolling and you're kind of annoyed by it, so what you can do, you can take a couple of weights and put them behind. This way the bar is locked. You can only go forward, however we are gonna catch it. So the bar is gonna stay in place. This is pretty useful. What we were saying, okay, how do we approach the bar and how do we get in position? There is two things that we gotta be careful. There is the lumbar spine and the thoracic spine. We're gonna talk about the thoracic spine, which is the upper back. Let's call it upper back. There are some people who say that it's okay rounding it, and there are some people who says that it's not. I honestly have no idea, because as I told you, you shouldn't exactly be learning from me. But I'm gonna keep it honest. I do think that a little bit of rounding can be okay in the latest reps when you're a bit more tired. However, I don't think that you should start having a back kind of arched, because there is no reason. And we're gonna talk about this in a little bit later. We then have the lumbar spine, which is the lower part of the back, the one that everybody snaps when they deadlift. Why? Because they don't have proper technique. And this is really important. On this, I am quite sure that you should not round your back. Yes, there are people who actually are able to pull with rounded back. However, they know how to deadlift and they are using that as a variation. So they already know what they are doing. If you are new and you're trying to learn the deadlift, the less variation there is in the technique, the better it is. So it means that if I just give you 4 things to make sure you do, your technique is gonna be a little bit better than if I told you, okay, there are 4 things, however, there are 5 variations for every single thing. So let's just say that the lumbar spine should be completely straight, upper back can round in the later reps. Again, learn from other people, do not learn from me. I don't know anything except what I know. Moving on, what is the role of the back in the deadlift? Why do people program the deadlift in the back day? Well, because in theory it is a pull from the floor. However, we are pulling from the floor through our legs, our glutes. So the deadlift in theory, in my opinion, is more of a lower body exercise. However, programming both squats and deadlifts in a single day is kind of hard. And that is why we put it in a pull day, since we have other type of hip hinges. So, that being said, what is the role of the back in the deadlift? The lower back should be a bridge, okay? Your legs are gonna be generating power, your lower back is gonna transmit this power to the upper body in order to keep rigidity. So you should think of your body as a split in two, which means that the upper body, it is just a structure, okay? It's there, this is the position that it holds, and it doesn't do anything else, it just holds this position. However, all the lower body is generating the power that allows us to extend our hips in order to lift the weight. So this is the role of the upper body. And we're going to talk about it because there is a really important cue that has helped me a lot, which is pulling the slack out of the bar. What does this mean? I do not know how to translate in my original language. However, the point is to pull the slack out of the bar. So I have no idea how it's called like this, I'm gonna be honest. However, from my understanding, pulling the slack out of the bar means feeling it heavy in my hands, okay? Creating tension, building up tension. These are 3 sentences that represent the concept really well. So, listen. You can clearly hear that the bar comes in contact with the weight because I'm creating tension. What does this mean is that we don't want to do the so-called grip and rip, which is grip and rip instantly. We want to grip, create tension, pulling the slack out of the bar and extending. But how do we do it? Do we pull? No, because we said that our arms aren't supposed to pull. Do we use our legs? No, that will initiate the movement. So what do we use? We use our upper back. So this means that we're going to grab the bar, we prepare the legs in the position that we talked about before, and we use our upper body. Right now, my lats are engaged. And once my lats are engaged, you can see that the bar starts moving. Why? I'm perfectly still. I am just engaging my back. And why is this important? Number one, because it kind of reduces the weight. Because if you think about it, we are kind of holding the bar in our hands. Because if there is the hole of the weight and inside there is a bar and we are moving the bar up, it means that our upper back is already removing 20 kilograms from the lift. Okay? This is why it's important. It allows us to actually lift less weight with our legs. However, of course, our legs are still gonna push more. The main idea is that the hardest point in the deadlift for the majority of people is the breaking from the floor, okay? So the first centimeter of the bar. You also see a lot of, especially sumo pullers, they have it extremely hard. There is a Steffi Cohen, which is I think the maybe strongest woman, or she's a good power lifter, I have no idea. However, she's extremely strong, and I saw a couple of her lift, and I feel like that it is crazy to see her deadlift, because you can see that once she starts, she practices everything that I said, and then this is literally the speed of her lifts. It's something crazy. The first centimeters are so hard. You can see that she's pulling, and the bar goes up so slowly. After that centimeters, it shoots up. So it's crazy to see, because once you see a girl pulling like that, you think, okay, that's 1 rep max. Well, good to know she did 5 more reps. It was something crazy to see. To me, this clip is absolutely crazy. Look at how slow she's pulling the bar, and then it shoots up like that. And imagine how heavy that thing must feel. That must feel like 20 seconds of a pull. Even watching it from the outside makes me cringe and feel bad for her. She is an absolute unit. Going back to our deadlift discourse, I'm sorry, I'm just talking out of the top of my mind. Pulling the slack out of the bar will allow us to basically have less weight to basically pull from the floor at the start of the movement, which is the hardest part. Then we begin in the real movement, because this is just the preparation. Right now we are imagining our man, which of course I'm not gonna do because I'm not crazy, holding the bar, having the slack pulled out of it, and is getting ready. What can we notice? We should notice that his back isn't completely parallel to the ground, okay? Because this is a hip hinge. This should be his position. I don't have this position because my arms are short. However, if I could get down here, this is how it should look like. There is one mistake that a lot of people do, which is to squat the bar. What does this mean? It means that they want to use more quad drive, and now this is a new term that I gotta talk about. Wow, maybe it wasn't such a short video as I thought. Anyway, the quad drive, what does it mean? It means that although the deadlift is a hip hinge, there is still a degree of knee flexion. And when there is knee flexion, the quadriceps can activate, and they can help putting the weight up. So this means that at the beginning of the movement, our legs are pushing and our quads are extending. So yeah, of course, the hamstrings and the glutes are gonna open the hips up. However, at the beginning, are our quads that are gonna help us extend the leg. What some people do is this: they prepare, they grab the bar, make contact, and then they go back. And you can see Eddie Hall using this. Now, I'm not gonna say that Eddie Hall can deadlift. The man lifted 500 kilograms, of course. However, he's using a lot of more leg drive at the beginning in order to break the floor. Okay, I am in the middle of my warm-up. However, I wanted to add another thing, and now you will see that the quality of the video is okay, which is pretty easy and simple. I'm not going to talk a lot. Basically, when you're pulling up, you aren't supposed to drag the bar along your shins. It's going to stay closed, but it's not going to completely remove skin from your shins, which I actually did in the past. Of course, you can see it, but there are still some kind of red blobs in my shins because I opened them up a lot. I used to use the long socks because I will injure myself basically. So that is not supposed to happen. The deadlift is supposed to stay close to you, but it's not supposed to scratch you, because if it does, it means that you're not pulling up, you're pulling in a diagonal fashion towards you. This way the bar is gonna keep contact with your shins. However, if you are lifting it up, it's gonna do this movement, okay? Just like my hands, they're gonna stay close, but they are not pushing against myself. So why do I say that this is a mistake, however? That is a much more interesting topic. Because, yeah, of course, you're gonna pull it up. However, we don't deadlift. We don't deadlift in order to build our quads, because it's just an inefficient. So we are gonna use the quads, but they are not the prime movers. So you shouldn't sit back too much, okay? So yeah, the quad drive so is important. However, it shouldn't be extremely emphasized. Now we wanna keep our back as straight as possible. And once we break the floor, everything else is extremely simple, in my opinion, in the deadlift, because it's a natural movement. Once we break the floor, what we're gonna do is push through our glutes in order to open up our hips, because that is the work of the glutes. If you stand and you activate your glutes, you will see that your hips are gonna open up. So those are gonna be the prime movers along with the hamstrings. So putting it all together, there is one last thing that I want to talk about, which is the lockout, and it's something that I struggled a lot. And as you can see, this is not a perfect tutorial, because I know that there is some technicalities during the lift, such as when you should completely extend the legs, when you shouldn't, but I do not know anything about them, and this is why I keep telling you to go look these other guys, because they know a lot more than me. You might find some good information from me, but I'm still young. I deadlift from 4 months. I don't know anything. This is for me. Again, I'm really happy and I appreciate it if you're watching this. However, really, go check these other guys out. Moving on. I was talking about the lockout. Basically, in the lockout, we don't want to have soft knees. This means that our knees should be extended. Maybe not hyper-extended, but they should be extended. And our glutes should be completely engaged at the top. So I don't want to see any of this bullshit that I also did, which is basically doing this thing here, right? In order to, yeah, I'm locking out. This is bad. This is terrible for your whole for your whole back. Do not do that. It doesn't make sense. There is no value in doing that. So in the lockout, I want to see something solid. So hips extended, knees extended. Now, as usual, I said that our arms are just gonna be ropes, and that is what they're gonna be. They don't do anything besides holding the bar. So we're gonna put it all together. We approach the bar, we make sure that our feet are in a similar position. We then make sure that the bar is completely cutting our feet in half. We then go down and we flex our knee in order to make contact with the bar. We go down and we grab it with a double overhand grip, if you are just interested in hypertrophy. Wow, I forgot about the really important part. Wow, god damn. which is we pull the slack out of the bar, but we gotta brace. Now, what is bracing? If you think about our skeleton and you watch a skeleton, you will notice that in this area, which is the one of basically the core, there are no bones besides this part of the lumbar spine, which is extremely weak. So we gotta reinforce it. How do we do it? We basically do a very deep breath. Now, do not exhale before the deadlift. Do not do that. You need the air and you need to hold the air until you get at the top. So how do we do it? If you've ever done combat sport, it's gonna be easy. Think about when you're about to take a body shot, okay? What do? You basically flex your ab and you contract all of this part of the diaphragm, okay? It's the diaphragm that allows you to hold a deep breath in your stomach. So this means that we're not gonna breathe up here, so we're not gonna do something like this. This doesn't do anything. What we're gonna do is basically take a deep breath. I do not know how to explain it a little bit better besides the analogy of getting punched in the gut. So once we do that, you will see that our belly is gonna be a little bit expanded. We are not pushing it out, okay? It's different. We are not focusing on pushing it out. It's gonna get pushed out due to the air inside. So this is really important actually. I have no idea why I forgot about that. Maybe it's because it became something pretty natural to me. If you wanna look it up, it's called Valsalva movement. Valsalva. Look it up. This is really important, super important. We want to do that in order to keep rigidity in this zone of the body, which is pretty weak otherwise, and in order to help our body, because there is the erector spinae, which are these long muscles that run throughout all our back, which are supposed to, as the name say, erect the spine. However, we can't let them do all of the work, and our abs and all the other muscles of the core should help them. And I believe this is really everything. So again, we go there, we make sure the bar is slicing our feet, we get down, we brace, pull the slack out of the bar, and we get ready. And you have a clear lockout, okay? And this is it. Now, the deadlift does not have a negative. Those are the Romanian deadlift. Right now, we are deadlifting and we're gonna use a higher weight. So what I want you to do, if you're in a public gym, maybe you can do it, but kind of be careful, use bumpers, be a little bit more gentle. We're gonna do this. We do not need to control it, and that is why I'm also using this couple of tatami in order to absorb the shock. So this is it for my deadlift tutorial. I'm gonna now begin training. I hope the video isn't too long. I know I like to talk, I like to hear the sound of my voice. However, I hope you didn't get too bored. Again, check in the description for some other tutorial, which are also going to be probably much shorter. That is it for today's video. See you guys tomorrow.